Welcome to the Emerging Cybersec Professional at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is the business of security, revenue assurance, risk management, and fraud control. We have with us Rahul Puri, Vice President at Tata Play Ltd. In a world where digital transformation is redefining industries, few professionals have navigated its evolution as adeptly as Rahul Puri. With over 25 years of experience across revenue assurance, fraud control, and digital transformation, his expertise spans telecom, finance, and operation strategy, making him a thought leader in securing business against financial and digital threats. So, welcome, Rahul, to today's coffee conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Virani. Looking forward to a conversation and thanks for your kind words.
So, please call me Amir. It will be more coming from senior Mr. Virani. मुझे आपके कप वॉच नहीं किया सर, so it will be like ये keep it formal, so means informal अपने को रखने का, it's a conversation. Yeah. So let me explain you the flow and the format. आपको पता तो है, फिर भी for the viewers out there. So 3 rounds: professional, personal, and a rapid fire round. I know you are very excited for the rapid fire round, but we can't begin with the rapid fire. You have to go the 2 rounds. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Connection and a legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question, Rahul, how has your journey shaped up and any key defining moments you had?
So in one word, my journey has been a must. It has been a great learning experience. I have enjoyed myself. And during these many years, I have got the opportunity to work with the most respected and the biggest brands of the country. And in the telecom sector, if I was to talk about it, for somebody who started his career as a maintenance engineer in a mechanical polyester plant, and to get an opportunity to work on all the telecom products, you name it, and I have worked on those, be it voice, data, VPN, lease lines, IDCs, DTH. So that for me has been a very interesting experience. The opportunities I have got have been very phenomenal, and पता ही नहीं चला टाइम कहाँ निकल गया in the entire journey of learning. So I think that way it has been a very interesting journey for me. Looking forward to continue it further, of course.
Yes, sir, you should. So, Rahul, with rising cyber threats, how can companies balance security and digital innovation?
There can be a very techie answer to this particular question, where I can talk about the latest technologies and multiple things which are going on. But let's keep it pretty simple. Let's first understand what security is all about. Let's go back to our childhood, when our parents told us, don't talk to strangers. If there is a stranger whom you meet on the road and that person offers you a sweet, don't take that sweet. Of course, when I was growing up, the biggest case which was there in the country, the biggest crime that the country had witnessed, the gruesome crime incident, was that entire Billa Ranga case which had happened. The 2 kids of Chopra's, they were kidnapped and brutally killed. And of course, we have the Republic Day parade and the awards are given in their names. So what was happening over there? You went to somebody whom you couldn't trust. You put in your trust with somebody. So the same thing. Even today, what do we tell our kids? Keep me posted everywhere you go. Give me a message after an hour if you are going out with friends. So that's very important. We have to stay with those fundamentals. It is the people from where the leakage happens. People have to understand, please don't take calls from numbers which you don't know of. Please don't get lured by. So basically a fraudster or anything which happens, there are just 2 factors that they play on. One is greed. They will work on your greed. They will promise you something and you will get lured by that. And second factor is fear. We need knowledge to curb both these. It is the awareness that needs to be created. It is not just senior citizens and kids who need to be aware. It is each one of us. And that is where I think programs like this that you have been conducted, it is all about building the awareness. If you are forewarned is forearmed. So if people are aware of what is going on in the society, what is happening, that's the only way to make themselves secure. Organizations will do whatever monies they have, they will increase the cybersecurity budgets. They will do go beyond whatever it is. But as an individual, you need to take care of yourself. As a professional, you need to take care of what belongs to your company, the company jewels. So that's where you have to stick to the fundamentals. What is two-factor authentication, for example? Again, it's a buzzword. But then every home or every house that you visit today, in Bombay at least, in Mumbai at least, you would see that there is a safety door. One door which opens outside, one door which opens inside. That is two-factor authentication. So everything is there around us. We just need to keep our eyes open and be aware and don't trust anybody. Simple words.
Beautiful, sir. I'll enjoy the conversation, sir. Okay. Uh, so, Rahul, what are some of the biggest revenue leakage risks that companies overlook?
See, what I have understood in my career is that if you go to companies, you interact with CEOs, CFOs, you will ask them, okay, which are your top revenue items? They will rattle it out. If you will ask them about their biggest cost item, they will be able to rattle those out. So it is as there's this famous book of Dr. C.K. Prahlad, which talks about the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid. So similarly, there's a huge opportunity in terms of saving, in terms of revenue enhancement, which is lying in the middle layer, which is oft ignored. So example, if I just to give you an example, if a company feels that, okay, 50 crores, 100 crores annual expenses are big expenses, then you would be having expenses which are in the line of 1 crore to 10 crores. Who is looking at them? Has anybody made an effort to check the counts which are coming for those expenses? Fine, you have a process with which you have decided on the rates that have been negotiated. You got three vendors, you got the rate, so you have the best competitive rate. But what about the count of, say, for example, the count of messages that you are sending, the count of SMSs that you are sending? Once you multiply it with your subscriber base and then with 365 days, the amounts are huge. We should be looking at those points, and this is where typically organizations miss. And if an organization is going to implement a revenue assurance for them, the revenue assurance experts promise that in the first 2 to 3 years, they are going to save at least 5% of revenue, which as the process matures, it becomes 2 to 3%. That's where the big miss is happening these days still.
So, my next question is related to fraud control. So, what steps a company should take for preventing fraud of different types happening in a company?
It's a very, very wide question. It's a
I
very
know.
open-ended question, the way you have asked me. And
Being a senior, I have to ask such questions which adds depth to the conversation and for the viewers out there, sir.
yeah, definitely. So see, there are multiple types of frauds which happen. And as an organization, what we bring to the table is an understanding of all the business processes. We understand as a fraud control team, the team understands each and every business process to a limited extent. We may not be an expert. For example, we may not be an expert in a sales process. We may not be an expert in a marketing process. We may not be an expert in the IT process, but we understand each of these processes enough to go and ask the right questions. And that's where our strength is. And those to control frauds, you need to ask the right questions.
Yes.
Again, taking a simple example, any business, you would be able to form a normal distribution curve. And the business will focus, okay, these are my customers. This is where I need to focus on. But you have an outliers at both ends. And that's what you need to look for fraud. There would be people who might be high revenue customers. Why a particular person will be spending so much of money in your product? Or there will be customers who are at a low end of it. Why is it the customer not getting billed enough? That is why he's at the low end. So you need to look at the outliers. While the entire business is focused on the normal within the middle part of the normal distribution curve, trying to get revenues and reduce cost, it is the outliers who create the fraud. And if you are able to identify those outliers, you have the answers. Of course, you have to have people who are curious. Curiosity is the key. You need to keep on questioning till you are satisfied. Nothing illogical happens. There is a logical reason for it. And what beauty has happened over a period of time is that with this entire technology revolution, which we have seen in the last few decades, everybody leaves a footprint. You just need to dig in deep and identify it. Just to give you a couple of stories, we
Please.
have identified whenever we have had a few suspects, okay, there seems to be something wrong in the way this person is behaving, or there is something amiss over here. There was a time when we used to do about, this would be a maybe about a decade old story, that we went to the Facebook profile of that person. Okay. And therein, either that person would have gone for a trip to Thailand, or that person would have purchased a brand new bike. Now, if that person, if as a dealer for us or a partner for us, he is supposed to be earning X amount, how could he afford a big bike, or he could afford a trip outside? So once those questions come, you start developing a sense of confidence ki, okay, I'm going in the right direction, let's investigate more. Of course, you need to have the proofs, and today everybody leaves a footprint. You need to go to the logs, you can find out what needs to be found. All that data is lying with you.
Wow, beautiful. So thank you for leading me to my next question. AI and automation are reshaping digital transformations. How do you see the role in fraud control?
See, typically, what used to happen in the past, both revenue assurance, fraud control, they go hand in hand. Uh, we used to usually, I remember when I started my journey in the telecom sector at that point of time, we used to get a sample of physical invoices. I used to have a team of 10, 15 people, and they would go through those invoices manually and say, okay, all seems to be correct as per the system, the customer is correctly billed. And of course, we would work only on a sample. And typically, because of the pressure and the way the industry was expanding, these used to be things done in the night shift. Times now have changed. You have got so much of data, much more data than we can even manage, we can even comprehend. So we can check each and every case. So as I mentioned to you, we can use these entire new tools, especially machine learning. Machine learning is a boon for us. See, what is machine learning? Machine learning is just a statistical tool which will handle large volume of data. So rather than me looking into a sample, with machine learning model, I can go through each and every customer of mine. I can go through each and every data point of mine. I can go through each and every call detail record which I have, process it, and find out the outliers. And that's a very powerful tool for us. Of course, the same tools are there with the fraudsters also. The trick is to be just one step ahead of them. You need not be 3 or 4 steps. You have to be just one step ahead of them. That's the trick. So these are very powerful tools for us. And we have been doing implementation of these tools across the organizations. And as a sector also, we are quite advanced now in these things, understanding this much better. We have got crawlers which can go into the dark web, identify what could be going wrong over there, understand what sort of a data leakage, if there is any, is there or not. So these are a boon. Of course, there is one section who believes that this can create a problem. It's about, again, it's about knowledge. You need to know how to use these tools.
Wow. So let's go to the next question. Rahul, how do you ensure compliance security while leading a team in fraud control and revenue assurance?
Again, so even though I am an engineer, I have worked quite a lot with having bosses who are chartered accountants or team members who are chartered accountants. My peers have been chartered accountants. So out of the many things which I have learned from them, one is there always should be a maker checker. And that there cannot be a more powerful rule than that. As long as you have a maker and a checker, things are more likely to be correct. Of course, then they talk about a second line of defense, third line of defense, fourth line of defense from an audit perspective and things like those. I will not go into that. I am not an expert in that particular field per se. I am a practitioner. So it has to be this. This is a fundamental rule. As long as this rule is maintained, the probability of things going wrong is drastically reduced. There has to be a maker, and there has to be another function, another person, another somebody who has a different set of KRAs, who should be working closely with that person, but with a different objective as the checker. And that's about it. You don't need any rocket science over there.
Beautiful words. Okay. Rahul, you transition from engineering to finance and digital transformation. What are the biggest learning curves during this transition?
See, one thing has been that every couple of years, I have tried to get something new, work on something new. And if you want to take up new roles, there's a very, what should I say, a very counterintuitive thing which I've learned. The only way to take more work or get into new field is to make yourself as redundant. If you make yourself redundant, then the confidence that the management has in giving you a new profile, more work, is much more. So you get into a new area, work your way upwards into it. Once after maybe a 2 years time is the best given time. After 2 years, you would be able to create processes that process can run without your intervention. Your bandwidth is free. You can take up more work. Ask for it. काम मांगो, काम देने के लिए बॉसेस रेडी हैं. पैसे मत मांगना, प्रमोशन मत मांगना, काम मांगना, you will get it.
So
And
your
obviously
punchlines.
all other
Oh,
things happen.
so viewers will really enjoy this conversation with your short punchlines, short lines, and humorous words.
This is what I have learned, so I can only share what I have learned.
I'm enjoying it because humor element at this age, please keep it up, and you keep sharing this humor with everyone. Okay. So how has the leadership style evolved while working from different industries? Uh, what leadership skills have you gained being from engineering, finance, digital transformation, and now as a senior VP at Tata Play? How has it evolved?
Leadership, again, everybody has to develop their own style. I have very closely worked with leaders who have been very charismatic leaders. They will say just one sentence, and that one sentence will translate into multiple projects, multiple crores rupees of projects. And it's not just the business leaders I am talking about, even professionals with whom I have worked very closely. They will come, give you one sentence, and that one sentence is enough for your entire year's work that you do. There are leaders who will just, at any short point, they will just blow off their minds, and they will be just blasting you. And just to escape that blasting, you will start working. Okay, so that's the leadership side. And leadership sides, styles, they suit people depending on their nature. The way I have learned this, and of course, I will not call myself also as a leader because I am a part of the team itself. So what you can do is that you understand what's the work like. You have to go to the basics of the work, understand. You have to get your hands dirty. That the team should be comfortable to come to you and tell you, sir, this is the problem which has happened. Let's try to solve it. Can you help us solve it? You can only help your team. The type of talent that is coming to us these days, the newer crop of people who are coming, they are far more talented. They are more tech savvy. They do things much faster than the rate at which I can do. So there is one entire element of reverse mentoring which is also there. You can only support them. You can learn from them, support them, and be their problem solver. They should be looking at you as, okay, I am not stuck. Let's go to him. Let's use his experience. So I will just give you another sort of a different perspective to these things, how I look at things. See, there are very senior people in the organization. They are loaded with experience. And there are youngsters in the organization. They are loaded with energy. Somewhere you have to match these. You have to get
Yes.
these energy people, share the experience, get to learn from the experience of their seniors, and the energy of the youngsters getting transmitted to the seniors. Once you start building that, things happen much better. Otherwise, even when I joined an organization, I saw, yaar, itne bada log baithe hue hain, what will I do? But you have to take them along with you. So the energy quotient has to go to the experienced people. The experience has to come to the energetic people, and that's how they will develop mutual respect. And if that starts happening, your work as a leader is done. Your team will run on its own wheels. So that's the balance that we need to look at.
Beautiful, sir. Energy and exchange. E square.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein. Okay, good. So, so you've worked in telecom, digital transformation, and revenue assurance. How have these industries evolved over the last 2 decades?
As I mentioned to you, with the type of technology changes which have happened across the board, there are things have changed drastically at a very fast pace. It has been a challenge for us to keep up with the pace of the way the changes have been happening. So just to give you an example, when we started our careers in telecom, voice was what we used to focus on. We used to talk about okay, how the voice CDRs come into, what's the type of reconciliation done for voice CDRs and things like those. Today, nobody talks about voice. It is free for customers. We used to look at data usage patterns of customers. Today, data is unlimited. It is just the bandwidth which is getting configured. So many of the old ideas that we have just been thrown away, and there are new things which are happening. So to give you another example, there used to be huge, heavy, big databases and systems which were put in place. For example, there used to be SAP, which used to be getting installed in each and every company, which was getting implemented across organizations. There used to be heavy giants, and there used to be multiple servers which used to be feeding them data and working for them. But over a period of time, all that has vanished. You have got very light uh, applications which are available for you to use. Your capex costs have dwindled, whereas your opex now is dependent on the cloud. How much you use, you pay for that much. So things have changed big on the technology front. There are new tools which have come, which is the generative AI, which is the machine learning tools, which is the RPAs. So the way it has evolved, it is very challenging yet exciting. And one needs to be very updated on this. So one of the very interesting things which we have done very recently was that we took up a challenge that the entire finance team should be aware of what are the basics of AI. They should understand what is AI, what is machine learning, what is RPA, how they are different, what is generative AI. So we did an entire some 25 modules which we created. And those modules have been creating, of course, using some inputs from generative AI itself, but they have been very interesting modules which we created were based on uh, with examples from Bollywood, from pop culture, so that people could relate to it. And also what we did is then we ran contests, see how many team members have completed a particular module and how they are rating in it. We put in a questionnaire after each module. So that was a very successful drive which we are able to do to educate people. And one very interesting time, which we should all understand, is that when we were starting on this particular project, we were struggling what should be the sort of a syllabus or the extent of this particular project. So that's when we came up with this, one of the team members came up with this idea. They said, in CBSE board standard 10th, there is a subject on AI. So that became our guiding principle. Okay, this is the syllabus and let's create modules around it. Otherwise, the type of material which is there, people we do not know how to curate it for the audience that we have. You need to do all those things to keep people educated. Because once people understand it, then only they should make a decision whether it is right or wrong. You want to jump the gun and say, "नहीं, this is not good, इससे तो सारे jobs चले जाएंगे. It is going to change the entire world. It is good or bad." We are deciding without understanding it. So we need to understand these things.
Beautiful. So, Rahul, in a world moving towards subscription-based services, how does revenue assurance change?
So this example, I will give you an example of what happened with me yesterday. Okay. So I commute in Mumbai using app-based bus service, City Flow. You may have heard about it. So yesterday when I boarded the bus, they have an app in which you can book your seat. Okay. So the app was showing me that there are 7 rows of seats which are available, and I chose one of them. When I boarded the bus, I realized, there are 9 rows of seats in the bus. So now for me, this is a revenue leakage which is happening. And today we have got subscription services all around us. We subscribe to OTTs, we subscribe to TV channels, we subscribe to uh, milk baskets of sorts. We subscribe and get subscribe for food services and so many things. So these are the type of things which are happening because behind the scenes there are multiple systems which are working. And whenever there are databases in system and there is a data transfer which is happening, there is a possibility of data leakage. Whenever there is a data leakage, there is a possibility of a revenue leakage. As revenue assurance professionals, you need to identify such loopholes and correct them. Whether you go to the IT team to correct it later on, to the technology team or to the marketing team, the product teams, that's the next step. So we need to understand the ecosystem of how these apps work, and revenue assurance is there everywhere. As I told you earlier also, if a company implements revenue assurance as a function, first year itself, 5% of revenue would be identified as leak. On an ongoing process, it is going to be 2 to 3% that they would be able to arrest.
Wow, beautiful. My last question for your professional journey around, Rahul. What advice would you give to young professionals aspiring to enter cybersecurity and revenue assurance sector field?
See, many a times what happens is when you are in college, you would learn so many things. When you come to the workplace, you realize कि अरे वो तो कुछ मतलब ही नहीं रहा उस सब का. So that was all bookish knowledge. Workplace is altogether different place. So one needs to really get their hands dirty and understand how things work. There is no shortcut to hard work. I don't want to get into any sort of a controversy. Uh, I have a very small individual in that. I don't want to get into that 70 hours or 90 hours controversy, but let me put the same question in a different way.
Okay.
The students who will now become professionals, as students in their colleges, or in the time when they would have been preparing for their IITs, for their IIMs, have they not worked for 70 to 90 hours in a week? They have really toiled up to reach the position that they have reached. Even in colleges, you go to any MBA institute, you will find that in the night, there is an entire crowd which is going on. PPTs are being made. People are there in the coffee shop and working on laptops. So why do you imagine that once you get into a workplace, things are going to be any different? So you need to do hard work. There is no substitute for that. Your speed is much faster than what the other peers who are working there have. Because you are smart, you understand things faster. But if you will add hard work into it, it is going to take you long, long, long way. There is no substitute for that. So that's the only advice that I may have for anybody.
Nice ones. Let's go to the next round and understand Rahul as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years, Rahul.
So talking about my formative years, and probably that's how I have ended up being in this profession also and changed functions per se. So when I was in my ninth standard, my parents said, ki, okay, your summer vacations are on. Why don't you go ahead and learn typing? So I used to go for an hour and learn typing. And at that point of time, you need to understand that the computers also were not there. Leave aside mobile phones or anything of that sort. Many of the listeners which we would be having from this conversation, they might not even have seen a live typewriter in their lives. But I was sent to learn typing. Now, what happened was that helped me understand this entire uh, as a poetry keyboard. And then when in my 12th standard, I had the choice. I took up computers to learn. And there I was one of the fastest to do computers because I was faster to type. Others used to do finger typing. And accordingly, my journey progressed. These things started interesting me. I got fascinated by technology. So that curiosity, that interest of learning is something that you need to carry all your life. Read. Now, though, even if you don't like to read, there is so much to read, to go through videos like yours to watch and learn. So that learning exercise has to continue. And as a person, there has been a lot of emphasis on my learning. Uh, as people might have guessed with my surname that I come from Punjab per se. But see, one thing which partition taught many people at that point of time is that whatever goods that you have, whatever possessions you have, those might be left. You will have to one day just run away from a place where you would have been staying your life. But one thing which nobody can take away from you is your knowledge, your learning. So as long as you are learning, things will happen. You will get the rewards of it. So that is one thing which you should keep on working on.
Wow. Okay. So, Rahul, how do you unwind and spending time at revenue, leakages, fraud, and everything? So, what is your mantra to unwind?
So I have lots of interests, and particularly over a weekend on a Saturday, 4 o'clock, I would be participating in a trivia quiz contest. And on a Sunday at 11 o'clock, I would be attending a spirituality class where we together read a book and share our experiences. So those things, so I'm always interested in things beyond my scope of work. So that keeps me alive and interested in things. These are two fundamental rules which I have kept in with myself and which is helping me out. It really helps me out.
Wow.
Spirituality is a great shelter for me. I am quite interested in that as a topic. Again, it's coming out from the curiosity part of it.
Wow. Okay. Rahul, you have worked in multiple cities. Where do you feel most at home?
That is Bhopal.
Hmm? Okay.
Bhopal.
Okay.
Laid
So,
back city, nobody is in a hurry. The other day I was seeing one particular podcast and very interesting that was the comedian who was talking about it. वो कहता है कि भोपाल में हर आदमी एक दिन का एक ही काम करता है कि आज मेरा काम है साइकिल में हवा भरवाना। तो वो दिन भर और कुछ नहीं करेगा, वही काम करेगा एंड इट इज एन एक्सेप्टेड प्रैक्टिस। किसी और का काम हो सकता है कि भाई जाके मेरे को बिजली का बिल जमा कर। Nobody is in a hurry. People are very relaxed, enjoying their life, and that's how life should be. You get
okay.
into unnecessary. See, in Bombay, everybody is running. But at times it seems that everybody is running on a treadmill, not moving ahead.
So, suppose someone wants to visit Bhopal. So, what are the things one can do in Bhopal related to ye check up places, food, and other things, according to you?
Oh, so we have a huge, there are multiple lakes in Bhopal. One of them is very big. And as you would be landing, you might be mistaken कि अरे यहाँ sea कहाँ से आ गया? There's not supposed to be a sea over there. It's a huge lake over there. And on one side of the lake, there's a natural park or a zoo of sorts, which is a very different sort of a zoo. And Then we have got dams over there, big roads, because being a capital, it is well got very good infrastructure. Historical things are also there. There's a temple of Bhojpur very close by to Bhopal. And from an eating, you will get best of non-vegetarian and vegetarian food over there. So it's a as I said, it's a very laid back city. The only thing that will irk issue would be that 11 बज गए कोई कुछ खुला ही नहीं अभी तक. Nobody is in any hurry over there.
Wow. Okay. So, who's the biggest cheerleader from your friends and family?
My entire family that way. He's my role model, of course, is my dad, and
Mhm.
I have whatever I am today is thanks to the care and the direction that I have got from my mom. But my wife is a big cheerleader. Whatever I have achieved, she is in. We have lived this journey together, and she is my lucky charm.
Wow, beautiful. So, Rahul, if your friends had to describe you in 3 words, what would it be?
Calm, composed, and just.
Wow, beautiful. So, Rahul, if you had 1 week away from the work, no work week, what would you like to do and why?
I would be in Rishikesh doing yoga.
Wow. Why Rishikesh?
It's actually a yoga capital of the world on the side of
Yes.
Ganges. You just need to take a dip in Ganges to understand that it's altogether a different experience which is there. And it's beautiful all around. And my interest in spirituality is what will drive me there, just to read that. I will have a whole set of books which is pending to be read with me, and I'm just trying to discovering myself.
Wow. So, which from spirituality books appeals to you and why?
So there are two books which I strongly recommend. One is The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, if I am not mistaken about the name, the German philosopher who is there. There are lots of YouTube videos of him also. The New Earth is a very interesting book to be read. And the other book which I read very regularly is the Vedanta Treatise by Swami Parthasarthi. So both these books, they talk about a very uh, logical approach to spirituality. They don't talk about any religion per se. It is more spirituality than religion, and it's time that we start in understanding the difference between the two. So it's a logical book. That's why it appeals to my logical engineering mind.
Wow. So, what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally, Rahul?
It's a tough question that you are asking me on a public forum. So one big challenge which I have been facing and which I need to overcome is to have a better fitness routine.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of work on the body and the intellect side of things. Sorry, on the mind and intellect side of things. It's the body part which needs to be really maybe worked on.
Okay. So, my last one is a googly one, Rahul. Describe Rahul in one line.
So there's a very interesting saying that I usually say, and Puri being my surname, so I can be also mistaken to be one of the villains, popular villains of Bollywood. So my favorite line is कि पुरी का हर काम पूरा होता है. To which my wife and boss would add कि चाहे कितना भी time लग जाए.
Wow, beautiful. I'd like to meet your wife also. 2 + 2 conversation क्या हो जाएगा? Okay, let's go to the next round and have some fun. Which you are waiting for, the rapid fire round. Your go-to comfort food.
राजमा चावल.
Your favorite color.
Blue.
Mumbai rains or Mumbai winters.
Winter से Mumbai, does that happen? Are there any Is there any winter in Mumbai? I have never seen winter in Mumbai.
Okay. One cybersecurity myth you would like to debunk.
So one thing which is known to everybody, I think that it cannot be stressed multiple. It has to be stressed multiple times. Is that whenever there is a cybersecurity attack, there is a person at fault. It is not the system. The
Wow.
weakest links are the people. They need to be educated. They need to be taken care of. They need to be on their guard every time.
Wow. One business leader you would like to meet.
None.
Man. Okay. You're a morning person or night owl?
So if there's a job which is pending, then I can stretch it to the entire night also. But I would prefer to be a morning person. That's what is
Wow.
more suited to me.
Favorite cuisine from Bihar?
And really tried Bihari cuisine. Litti Chokha is the only one which I know of.
It's mine also. There are some places in Mumbai where you get litti chokha, and I have had it. Yes, it's tasty. My last one. Tea or coffee to recharge?
So frankly, just for you, I had to get my coffee cup. Otherwise, I would prefer any day a Lahori Jeera or a Bombay Banta. If you have not tried, you should try these two drinks.
Yes, sir. We'll do together. So here's your gift, which will be autographed and sent to you. So, friends, it was a lovely conversation with in a humorous way, with a lot of stories, insights. Each question there was a story. So watch this episode. All those young cybersecurity professionals in the field of revenue assurance and fraud control. This is the episode where Rahul will take you. Okay, what it takes. What are the things to go inside for revenue assurance? What are the key elements? And his the for the leadership energy, experience and energy. So this is what a senior person like Rahul brings to the table. And one more thing, where they've developed course modules for finance professionals on AI, machine learning. So this is what Rahul brings to the table. Okay, everyone has to go into continuous learning, and which helps to build where it takes you. So subscribe to the Coffee Corner Show, where there are 450 plus coffee speakers with their interesting professional personal journey. And if you want to become spiritual, connect with Rahul. He'll take you to the process every Sunday. He There are sessions with book reading and all those things. We need to become spiritual, to have a work-life balance. And Rahul is doing it beautifully. And if you want to be featured like Rahul, visit our website, the Emerging Forum or LinkedIn page, or connect with a coffee speaker like Rahul, who can put in a word and invite you to be featured at the Coffee Corner Show with having coffee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Pleasure talking with you. And now I'm no longer afraid of lions.
Thank you. Okay.